down to others. And on top of that, we have a very safe environment. So basically this course is trying to make you alert, being an alert person and responsible to your environment, and exposed to the important terms in safety, where you will supposed to show a good practice whenever you are in the working area, or in working in the laboratory or in the facilities. So this is basically a preparation uh, preparation for you before going to work or employed in the future. Or perhaps some of you already had experience working, so that's an advantage. So basically everyone in UTM must attend, especially everyone who is staying in UTM for a certain period of time, or for permanent job. Okay, you must attend this course. And also someone who are going for industrial training, or students who are going for industrial training, so you already know the expectation of your workplace, so you can like be a good trainee, so that no one should blame you, or they will have a good impression of our UTM students. And also for person who are coming to our place or in our lab, like for example researcher from other university, or even student from other university who wants to use the lab or use the equipment, so they must attend this course about safety. So some countries, even in Singapore, even you want to go into their lab, they could have a similar program like this, or briefing. So every lab, okay, if you just come for one day, they give you a brief. If you are going to stay there for months, so they will give you a course, and then you must attend. And depending on the requirement, they could ask you to pass or sit down for an exam and such. Okay, so this is you must attend for this course. You must attend all the sessions. Okay, morning, afternoon for today, and then again tomorrow morning, and then the afternoon before afternoon session. So actually, when after this course, you are not going eligible to get the safe access digital card, but you have to go sit down with the actual test for Faculty of Engineering Safe Access card, digital card. And then for that exam, you have to pass 80% the objective test. I think is on a system, or you have to sit on the PC in the lab to sit down for the test. For this course, I will arrange online quiz based on Kahoot, the online platform. I have discussed of these topics. So this is the outline. What we're going to see, the safety policy for the students, including undergraduate and postgraduates, and also workers. But in essence, safety policy uh, is for everyone. There is no uh, classification supposed for safety policy. So regardless what's your rank, your position, so safety policy must be complied. And then we will look into the common hazards, okay, in our labs. So we will look into the definition of hazards. You may heard about the word hazards, but we will look into the definition much in detail, and consequences of consequences of negligence is accidents, or sometimes not because of negligence. Is something that we cannot avoid, but if we identify the hazards and calculated the risk and do the control measure, if even any accident happen, we can reduce the severity. So that is important. And also, what's next? If there any emergency, what's the procedure? So UTM, from time to time, they will revise the policy of OSHE. Like for instance, I think last time they revised it to make it suitable for facing on how to face or how to manage the pandemic, okay, or the COVID-19 issues. And this policy is by the basically the owner or the caretaker of the university. Signed in this example, signed by the previous Vice Chancellor of University Technology Malaysia. So it is basically revised from time to time according to the requirement, but if there is no revision, so the latest one will be in effect. So because of this, policy is not made at the level of university. It is actually required by the law, the Act of Malaysian government, which adopt the international Act, OSHE 1994. We will explain, but we follow the requirement by the government law, and it is the responsibility to give you awareness and training so that you go be a competent person. So in total, UTM must provide the policy, set up the committee, then do the training and then the awareness, and also do the audit. Okay, and also take care of any incidents, rectify, and then also responsible to report to the government of Malaysia, the authority that in Malaysia that take care of the safety issue. So meaning to say UTM is responsible, okay, big responsibility in terms of safety. This is an example of the committee of OSHE in UTM. So there are OSHE department in UTM. So there are directors, secretary, and then there are sub division or that take care of a certain task. This is for your information. and there are this, and at every school there are JKKP, Jawatankuasa Keselamatan Pekerja, or the committee for worker safety and health. This is an example for mechanical. So there are chair and then secretary, and they are the um, employee representative, and also they are worker representative. So basically that's the structure, and all the regulation, the basic regulation of the lab, depending on the requirement of the lab itself. So they will put this, okay, announcement in the form of poster. So this is like a notice, an effort to disseminate or to create the awareness. But sometimes it is left ignored by students. But basically, if you are a good user, you must go through the safety regulation. It's very important to obey. Like for example, you must wear the proper attire. For some lab, you must use the safety boots, and also you have to wear the lab coats if you go to, like for example, into the chemical lab and such. So if you are not sure about the regulation or safety regulation, you must consult with the lab caretaker or the assistant engineer for the lab and ask what are the requirements. So why this safety, the professional course is relevant and proceed from here? There is a safety pass because it is the requirement of the law, OSHA, section 15 and 17. Section 15 is the responsibility of the employer, and 17 is employee. But perhaps UTM has no employee. The worker itself are employee. Students are also a part of the employee. I mean, you are using the workplace. Okay, and based on the safety policy, facility, okay, that's the requirement. Like the new facility will always have a new standards of safe level. So you need to have the awareness, and also on top of that, accidents. We want to reach, okay, it is all everyone dream or target to reach zero accidents and incident. It could be achieved if we take okay, attention to the safety requirements. Even if there are accidents, the severity is not to the worst condition. It's a control measure in our lab. This is not according to the proper type, but if you may be aware of this item, like for example, for fire hazard. So the control measure as fire safety plan, as in, so there are, when there are emergency, people will be instructed, okay, to go to a point or assembly point in the proper manner. And then also if they are fire, so if the fire is manageable, better to fight it rather than just let the fire spread and then become bigger. So that's why there are fire extinguishers and also hose reels. So the emergency response team at every department can take the proper actions. And then like machinery, there are signage. There are like every machine, there are signage like a sticker or a poster telling you what to do, what not to do, what you have, okay, to prepare or wear, for example. Okay, and then also there are longer version is the standard, or more importantly is the safe operating procedure. Safe operating procedure, which is our kind of manual, and that is kept for every machine. So better to go through it one by one, or ever the assistant manager will give a quick brief. And PPE is protection equipment, protective equipment. But PPE is one of the control measure, not not the most effective. I will explain that why PPE. Okay, PPE like the helmet, your eyeglasses, your lab coats, your boots. So those are part of the control measure, but actually not the most effective. I will explain you why. Okay, and the rest here is stated there. So accident, the kind of accident that you could uh, sustain in the lab if you are not careful, like for example cutting from saw blade, if you're not using a proper procedure. Okay, hand tools, like the grinder, to get cut and stitches. So those are injuries as a result of accidents. So the first step to avoid this is to know the hazard, to understand about hazard, and then do the risk assessment, and then follow up with the control measure. So that's three important things. And accident is the occasion that we unwanted occasion. It is, it can be avoided, okay? But if we take the measure, but if it is happen, like I said, the severity, okay, can be controlled if we take a proper control measure after understanding the hazard. And then you could get, for example, chemical like, handling, acid, for instance, you get burned, third-degree burn and such. And then incident like fire. Fire itself is not the hazard, but the fire is basically an incident that lead in the actual incident in an accident. Okay, but what lead to the fire? There can be many causes. Uh, like for example, exposed gas, or uh, other like chemical reactions due to improper storage of chemicals, so that you do not keep the chemical properly, so they somehow gone mixed up, and then made a reaction and cause fire. So fire itself is an incident actually, but the hazard that lead to the fire, you need to know. And then electrical due to fire due to electrical shortage, okay. So kind of the accident, or shock, electrical shock, due to like exposed insulator, or poor wiring, or improper management, or uncluttered workspace untidy. Okay, you do not perform the housekeeping from time to time. So that's the issue or the hazard that leads to the uh, electrocution, for instance. Okay, let's see uh, a video. Okay, just a quick.
Take my family on a nice vacation. Soon they get a call telling them I was killed in an accident. A busted harness here. And the company should have checked those tanks.
Accident? This was no accident. Company should have replaced that line years ago. I shouldn't reach children like that. Why isn't there a strict policy about two people doing a job like this?
This was no accident. The company knows it's against code to store that much weight up there. I knew I should have been focused on what I was doing. And it's obvious the supervisor didn't report that broken shelf.
James was with that company for 10 years before this tragic accident.
Accident? What are you talking about? The company never fully trained me to deal with high voltage wires. And the way they were insulated, it was obvious someone wanted to get home in a hurry. So I think I myself included.
So what can we learn a bit on the video? So it shows that if you have a good safety procedure or safety culture policy, so the management should have taken the proper steps. Okay, like for example, first do the audit from time to time, identify the hazard. Okay, like broken harness or slippery surface or overload uh, overload item on the shelf, and then do the control measure. So those accidents wouldn't have happened. Okay. Worst case, if there's an accident, the severity may be minimum. So if any accident happen, especially in a lab, okay, this is maybe in this is a chart showing how to report how to report any accidents or fire incidents. So first you identify or see the accident. You see the accident or fire. So you need to know what is the proper procedure. Like say accident, a student entangle his hand on a drilling machine, for example. So you need to identify the proper procedure. Okay, like for instance, turn off the equipment first. Okay, you have to shut down the power supply to the equipment, and then look at the injury. Oops, sorry. And look at the injury, how is, like for example, if blood is coming out, okay, you can immediately cover, okay, the wound with the cloth or to stop the blood from coming out profusely. So that is one uh, quick action you have to do, and that's why we need to be exposed, okay, to the possible incident or accident, and they need to know what is the next step, and then you have to uh, inform the lab technician or the lab assistant. Next, the lab assistant will inform the head of lab. The technician next will inform the head of lab and such. But in the same time, of course, they will call the emergency, okay, emergency, or give first aid first aid kit. Depending on the severity. If it's too severe, like for some accident, you cannot remove the victim. Okay, you have to let the victim there. Okay, if like for example, if you remove the bone, be like dislocated and then inflict further injury. So the next step, okay, after the victim is attended to for treatment, so the lab technician will fill the form, fill the accident form, and then the form will be sent to the OSHE department in case we have OSHE department in UTM, and then we will do investigation. So whether that accident is, what is the cause? Is it negligence? Is it the procedure or lack of trainings? That's why all students, okay, must take attention, must pay your very highest attention in terms of safety. If you're not sure, if you're not sure in how to handle certain equipment or anything, you must ask. Okay, this is the next step. Just for your information, not going to be in detail. Not going to be asked. Okay, in our assessment, but basically what you need to do, okay, inform the lab technician, but in the same time you can do the quick action, proper quick action, okay, like turning off the equipment, clear out. Okay, if you could give a quick first aid kit, give it quick, but for most importantly, you have to inform the staff there, the staff in the lab. If there is no staff in the lab, try to find the staff or call your uh, supervisor or call your academic advisor. Okay, anyone you know, okay, in the in the school. So someone from the administration or from the staff must know the incident. This is an example of the accident form. So this is the practice when you come across an unsafe situation. Okay, unsafe situation, it can be unsafe act or condition, unsafe act and some condition. Act, for example, someone is using an equipment improperly, like do not wearing the eyeglass. Okay, what you see, you have to advise. Okay, you have to ask them to, okay, to do, and then and if there is, even there is no accident, you have to report to the lab staff. Okay, even if there near miss, you have to report. And then condition is, for example, uh, so uncluttered workplace, like the tools are put everywhere, so you have to act. Okay, and you have to, okay, you can tidy, and then you have to report. And then next, like for example, you see, okay, you go outside, you see stagnant water, you see larva, Aedes larva. What you should do, you take picture and then remove the water and then report. So that's the you see, you act, and then you report. You act in terms of rectify the problem immediately, if you are sure. But if you are not sure, you have to report how to do it. Okay, you don't know how to, or you are afraid. If you do it, you may be, doing it wrongly. Okay, you just report to the lab staff. Okay, you see, you act form. And emergency in Malaysia, you call 999. For every lab, if I believe, there are personal protective equipment. Okay, it depends. Okay, they could provide. This is the case of School of Mechanical Engineering. So they have some support, or I think co-budget, or you have to buy on yourself. I'm not sure. But in certain lab, okay, like for example, if you are a postgraduate student, you can claim through your supervisor, okay, for all the PPEs. The supervisor usually have grants, okay, to help out. Okay, so in the next policy of the workplace or workshop or lab in UTM, you must have that safe access. So safe access, I think, is a digital safe access, digital form. You can show to the lab assistant before doing any experiment, and also your metric card. But if you don't, I think they will still give you a temporary access, and then a very strict training, or very intensive training. Then you use, and they give you some time to complete. But if they don't allow, you can delegate with the lab session and the school and then your supervisor how to make you possible to use. If the policy is very strict, okay, you have to follow. Like the thing in this part, I need to do or to make a survey, quick survey on, I need to know the level of your awareness, okay, about work safe. So can you, okay, fill this form quickly in 15 minutes? Hang on, let me share in the group. Okay, form, and also because I need to know basically your background to get the idea, or whether probably most of you already had experience working in companies or such, or you don't have any experience. So I need to have that window of small window of understanding at least. Could you quickly fill this form, a survey, a quick survey to see. Okay, let's give some 10 or 15 minutes. I want to at least we get some replies. I request everyone to do it because I need to know. Okay, while you are at it, I think we can already share the outcome of the survey. So interestingly, many of you have experience working. Okay, that's good. So perhaps this course is kind of basically a revision or refresh what you have learned. And a question based on workplace, like for example, whether you have doing pushing the item, like this is like hard job, odd jobs. Okay, when like for example you're working at the shopping center, you have to carry a lot of item from the store to the shelf. Okay, interesting. Okay, quite high. Do the same thing. Okay. So many of you interact with chemical. Um, we are talking about workplace, but if in daily life, for example, if you go to the petrol station, there's actually inflammable material. So, if you count that, okay, many of you work bending, and many of you work at height. Oh, is that strongly? Oh, never. Sorry, I wrongly interpreted. Okay, not many of you working with chemical. Okay, only a few, and also not do the awkward position. But sometimes, okay, when you sit improperly on the chair is also considered as improper position. Like you play online games, you do not sit properly, so that actually an awkward position. Noisy, okay, kan not many of you or most of you not working in the factories. Okay, sofa, standing, okay, sofa no. Okay, okay, so this and then this one, okay, okay. In general, many agree or strongly agree. Okay, that's the majority of the policy. Um, okay, this is okay, and then this is interesting. I've been certified by proper authority, so that's good. Okay, perhaps you have certification uh, for certain body, or perhaps some of you already certified safety health officer HSO. We will explain later. And yes, even you are certified at your place, you have to attend this course, or maybe you get the CIBD from uh, the building, uh, for especially for civil engineering work, where you have to sit for CIBD course before you have to get the green card before you go to any uh, construction sites. Okay, I think thank you for the response. So I get the basic idea. Uh, so in general, okay, students, okay, here is basically safety is a new thing, right? So we proceed to the next topic. Oops. Okay, let's go to the. Hang on. What's happening? Oh, no. Okay, let's look into this introduction to FMA, Factory and Machinery Act, and OSHA. Basically, OSHA is Occupational Safety and Health Act and Regulation 1994. So we look into these are two important law or act regarding the safety and health at workplace, and the regulation basically have been developed uh, in and then adopted in Malaysia. Okay, this is the international act FMA 1967 OSHA 1994. Basically, that's the guideline, okay, and adopted as a law for Malaysia, especially in workplace. So we will look into this in specific, uh, and why we use to act or law. Why not we just use OSHA? Why we still have FMA? We look into that. So these are the terms that important terms. Whereas at this point, so you uh, memorize this definition and then try understand one by one. Like for example, safety. What is defined by the safety? Basically, protection from physical injury and mental well-being of of any individual. So it's not only physical, okay, but also mentally. Mentally, uh, uh, mental health is very important. Okay, it has relationship with physical. Even if your mental is not at good health, so it will affect your physical condition. And then health is basically the protection of the body and mind of an individual from illness, welfare. Okay, basically the things, okay, that provided by uh, the owner to the worker. So welfare, like for instance, um, toilets, restrooms, praying rooms. Those are part of the welfare. And this is okay coming here. This is a very important uh, term here. Hazard. Now we start to see the most important definition here. Hazard, the way in which an object or situation may cause harm. A way or situation. Okay, object, okay, means that it could include the surrounding. Okay, like the condition, like for example, um, the floor. Okay, so basically floor is the object, but the surface of the floor. So that it could be uh, the way, and then situation include act or behavior. Okay, so how you behave, how do you work, how do you communicate, okay, what is basically the discipline. Okay. May cause harm to what? Harm to human your properties, and also to the environment. Okay, so uh, the way object kita may cause harm. Okay, we trigger harm to human properties or environment. For example, like if you say object like sharp edges, or like knife, for example, knife, they are objects. So the object have is sharp and it may cause harm if not properly used or properly storage. So if the knife is left on the table unattended, so people could like uh, put their hands on it or accidentally, or like move it accidentally and slide and step. It's just a imagination lah. But that is a possibility. So that is hazard. So now you start to see the hazard, the definition. Okay, exposure is the extent of which likely recipient of the harm is exposed or can be influenced by hazard. So exposure is basically important, especially in calculating the risk. Okay, means that the exposure will determine okay how long you are exposed. Okay, if like for instance, if there's a big long a loud noise, but if you are only exposed at a short period, okay, it's called an impulse noise. It could not affect you very much, but less it's a loud noise, but you are sitting there, okay, for a long time, like 8 hours, so it could affect your hearing, for example, or you are using equipment like blowers, leaf blowers, or chainsaw. It make a lot of noise. But if you're using it for a certain length of time, so it could give you a limit of exposure. And then the risk, the chance that such effect will occur. So in this, we calculate the risk, okay, by estimating the severity the likeliness multiply with the severity. Likeliness is how often. So there are scales, and severity. Okay, what are the also scale? Okay, from I think like for example, just minor injury until uh, death also. That's the worst. And likeliness also like how many times. So risk, okay, we calculate. So basically, it start with identification of high hazard. Identify, identify this, and then calculate the risk. Okay, calculate the risk, and next, okay, do the control measure. Okay, after knowing the risk, again we do the control measure. So we look into what is the control measure. So OSHE basically or OSHE basically cover like promotion and maintenance of highest degree of physical and mental social being of worker that have been stated there. Okay, welfare basically, like I said, like the number of toilet, restroom, okay, including shift hours, and also prevent workers from adverse effect. Okay, so that is when we okay in terms of the health. Okay. Right. So this is the Factory and Machinery Act 1967. So it's basically was developed in 1967. Uh, it more focusedly on the machinery safety. So this FMA focus on machine operation, work environment, and control of personnel. How many person? Okay, and it's very descriptive. I will explain that in later. And the milestone or before this FMA is introduced, okay, it start with like boiler safety act that is basically in 1914, long ago. They come with the federal machine enactment between 1914 to 1952, and then come with the machinery ordinance between 1953 to 1967. And then, so this safety is basically act, it basically safety law basically is revised and then also discussed from time to time according to the requirement, and especially due to the technology advancement. And then come FMA at 1967. And due to many events, okay, and occasions, so OSHA 1994 is introduced in 1994 to complement with the FMA. So I think the rest of this law is it has made redundant, but but FMA 1967 and OSHA is still relevant in the term of the occupational health, safety and health. Okay, so this is what I explained. This is what the regulation under the act. Okay, so when you say act, there are the regulations. So there are the regulation about steam boiler, dandang, and then others like lead, mineral dust, in industry like silica. Okay, how asbestos. There are regulation on that. Okay, and how to deal with leads regulation. So because FMA is more focusing on industry, manufacturing, mining, quarry, construction site, so there are many other industry that are not covered like agriculture. Okay, there are many they are not covered under the FMA, because FMA is very descriptive. So the purpose of occupational safety and health is to basically promote. The OSHE is to promote the OSHE 1994 to promote OSHE or occupational safety health awareness among workers, and also to encourage OSHE awareness among workers, and to create organization along with effective safety and health measure. So not only just to make everything safe, but it's to have that uh, culture. Culture means that it's being a practice. something that is intuitive or self-governed in an organization. So the tips or the method or how to deliver depend on the organization. So, for example, how to promote awareness. So, encourage people, okay, to attend. Uh, so by giving incentive, for instance, or do some, uh, for example, do a competition. Okay, competition, safety poster, for instance, or video, safety video. So that's way, okay, okay, organize a safety week or safety month. So okay, this is very important. We see the uh, differences between FMA and OSHA. So they are the two major act for occupational safety and health, but there are other act or regulation. I will touch that a bit at the end. But so this is the difference. But like for example, FMA 1967 only cover the term or things in the manufacturing, mining, quarry work, engineering, construction, only cover of the 30%. OSHA 1994 cover all economic activity, including like okay, in the oops, manufacturing, uh, mining, construction, forestry, what else? Fishing, agriculture, even education, agriculture, education is so. And except armed forces, so they do not cover armed forces because they have their own act. Armed forces like the police, military, and seafarers. Seafarers are basically people who are working in marine vessel. Okay, like cruise, like shipping vessel. I think maybe some of your relative working in a shipping vessel, working as a or working as a worker in luxury cruise. So seafarers they have their own regulation, or so it's not included for ocean, and there are others. Uh, with that. Now, for FMA is a bit uh, prescriptive. It's very detailed. Okay. So it dependent on the government concern for inspection. Okay. For example, okay, this is one page of the FMA. Or the FMA it says here the how to install a guarding on a creep machine. Creep is a creep rubber machine. Uh, so this is back in the 1970, 80, maybe they are still relevant. So this is like the machine that they roll, okay, they put the latex, semi-solid latex inside the roller, and then we can get sheet of rubbers coming out. So this is how so see how very prescriptive there. They put the dimension, okay, the guarding A, okay, must not be less than 30 inches. C, okay, not to be less than 39 inches, and so on. It's very prescriptive. And may not be relevant kan. Technology is, evolving very fast, very rapid. So this machine may not be relevant any longer. But there are still things that uh, still relevant by the FMA. For example, it's focused on machinery registration. Registration of, like for example, our compressor. Okay, compressor, the machine that compress air, like in the workshop. Okay, compressor more than 145 HP must have that registration. So the registration in Malaysia is called SPMD with a certain number, must be certified. Get from the Department of the Safety Department. So this certification is valid for 15 months. Okay, 15 months. And also for our elevator or some so you say lift. So for high rise like building with 8 floor for instance, so they have the certification number goes PMAXXSPMA pendaftaran mesin angkat. Okay, so the registration for hoisting machine. So it must be renew every 15 months, and also according to the requirement must be displayed. If I think if in UTM, if you go in the lift on on the top wall, they must put the certification, okay, the registration certification for the machine. But according to the OSHE Malaysia Department of UTM, they say no, or no, sorry, for the asset management, say no need. Okay, but we always have that trouble when audit happen. So when audit from OSHE of UTM, the office, so say where is the certification is not there, but because they are under the asset management, so that's one of the challenges. Okay, coming back, if the FMA is very prescriptive, but OSHE is self-regulation, means that the description explained by the OSHE uh, is not bad too specific. It give you some guideline, but depend on the organization how to translate. Okay, it must within the requirement. Okay, but we will look into that. Uh, uh, how to do it. And also for OSHE, focus on safety and welfare of employee and those work on the workplace like visitor, not like FMA more focusing on the machine. But okay, but there are some okay, in FMA focusing on the employee or worker, but not many. FMA not as intensive as focusing on the machinery lah for FMA. So for OSH, there are 67 sections, main principles, self-regulation. Means, okay, that you have to, okay, have the, let's say, the handle the issue relating to occupational safety. Okay, we have to develop a policy, and then develop a management. Management in terms of safety. Okay, they have that structure. Okay, and then you have to form the, okay, the who is the leader, who is, and then, and if depending on the type or size of the organization or the company, okay, they must if they are entitled or have reached the requirement, so they must have a safety health officer, or called as SO, and this is certified by the Department of Safety and health. So I will explain you how to be certified, a certified SHO for organization. And then consultation three-party where employer and employee and the government must negotiate. Okay, this is involving the government, employee and worker must negotiate to settle issue and problem related to occupational safety and health at the workplace. So, from some nature of manufacturing or something maybe a bit different, so they have to like consult. The organization must consult with the government, also employers and okay, involving the employers and workers to come with an understanding, and also the cooperation. So cooperation means that they mm, must be participation from all the employee and employer. They have responsibility. Even in the section stated clearly what is the responsibility of employers, the responsibility of the workers, and what are the penalties. Does not come free or free responsibility. So they come with consequences if we don't follow the regulation. So these are the objective of the OSHE. I have explained before, but I explain again. Okay, basically to secure, okay, the safety, health, and welfare of person at work against risk. Means it by having a good policy, policy and SOP, and audit every time to protect person at of workplace other than person at work. To protect person at place of work other than person at work against risk. Okay. Uh, so this is basically protection at workplace also include like protection against sexual harassment. So those are the objective. And then to promote, how to promote, okay, like I explained, okay, do like awareness week, okay, or competition, quiz, okay. To how to promote this is basically different from level to level. You have to understand the level of the people in your organization. For instance, worker. So worker they come there without. You have to look at their background. Sometimes they only finish the primary school or don't have any education. So sometimes very difficult, okay, to get their attention. So that's why, okay, you when you like give the incentive, okay, they could comply. Okay, so it has some human touch. But when you talk to the management, like your boss or the owner of the organization, let's say you are the safety health officer, and then you strongly advise, okay, we cannot proceed with the current practice. If you proceed with the current safety procedure, so you actually accident will happen. Okay, people will get hurt. But some boss will say don't care. It's okay if the accident, we just pay the compensation. But you can add in the regulation. Okay, if employer fail to provide proper safety training or and so on, they could eligible to be not only fined but only but also jail. So they have to face jail. So if they heard that, okay, jail. They don't want to spend time in jail. Money could they don't no problem. Actually they can pay. Okay. So these are the concepts of OSHE. We want to prevent accidents. That's the most important part. Okay, accident is things that we want to prevent, and and the consequences of the accident we want to reduce. Sometimes accident is, even though that you have prepared everything nicely, whatever. Okay, like for example, you take, for instance, you drive your car, you send it for maintenance. Okay, and then you service it regularly, check everything, tire change every year or 2 years. Okay, and drive according to the law, and then still accident happen because others negligent, and they inflicted to you. It's God forbid that to happen, but that is a part of life, accident. But if we have prepared of everything, control measure, okay, including what could happen next, and okay, we have the preparation, okay, to like how to deal with accident, okay, like fire extinguisher, whatever. But if it happen, we can reduce the severity. Okay, okay, we reduce the cost or the damage to the harm level to the human or to the our assets. So basically, there are cooperation between the management and workers. It is a two-way process, not only one way. And the top management must take the lead. They have to come up with a policy, and if okay, and then also and achieve the policy. It's not just like for display. Okay, put there for the sake of the requirement, but it's for the safety and based on available knowledge and methods. Uh, so if you want to achieve safe, safety, you have to go use the best equipment. Okay, and there are many third parties or third party companies that can provide safety trainings, even DOSH, Department of Safety Health on Health, they can provide consultancy how to provide. Sometimes, most of the time, okay, safety means cost, but better, uh, uh, better we spend cost than sparing life or and worse. Right. So this is important. To know about National Council of Safety and Health. This is basically council, not the Department of Occupational Safety and Health. This is National Council. Okay, this is like a committee lah for this NCOSH under the Ministry of Resources. Okay. So this was established in 1995 in accordance to the Section 8 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act 1994. So in the OSHE here itself, in Section 8, in the regulation, in the Section 8, so there must be a national council. So this council basically make report to minister. Okay, make report to minister. So there are who are appointed here. Appointment. Okay, there could be experts. Okay, experts. In terms of the technical experts, technical expert, also management expert, economy expert. Okay, they decide, and they will look into the act from time to time and make changes or improvement on the act, so they could improve the OSHE OSHA 1994. But they will have to, because this is a act, so any improvement or alteration must go to the parliament. It must be tabled, so it has to be make into a motion. Okay, motion in the parliament. So they're under parliament. Of course, they have to make advice to the minister of human resources, and if the minister endorse, so they have to table it in the parliament and discuss in the parliament and debate whatever, and then they will, okay, come out with the improvement lah. And also they will look into others matter lah, how to have a guideline to better in the national level lah, how to make OSHE is properly adopted. Okay, like, okay, advising the minister to give more budget, safety budget on organization, or like tax exemption, for example. Okay, so this is National Council for Occupational Safety and Health. Okay, not the uh, Department of Safety and Health yet. Okay, we look into that. Okay, now inside the OSHA 1994, especially this is under the section 15. Okay, section 15. So this term duties of the employers. This is taken directly from section 15 of the OSHA Act. What are their duties? To ensure as far as is practicable, the safety, health, and welfare at work of all his employees. What does it mean by so far as it is practicable? It means that the degree of risk in a particular situation can be balanced against time, balance against trouble, okay, cost, physical difficulty. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, we are already in the pandemic. Sorry, not the pandemic. Endemic period, whereas we are allowed to do means that to do activities before the lockdowns. Okay, not all, but some, but with the some measure, means that the restriction are less. Like, for example, we can gather, okay, but certain according to certain operating safe operating procedure. In Malaysia, still if you go to public, you can go to shopping complex, eat at food. But when you are going to the shopping complex, you have to wear the face mask. So that is protective, personal protective equipment. But if you like, the government ask you, if you want to go, you have to wear the full PPE. You have to wear uh, uh, the gear, all the gear, like the vest, okay, glove, full cover, like you are working in the quarantine, the same like that. So if you in public, you still have to do it. So that is not practicable. Okay, it's not practicable. So or maybe in your work area, so your company, okay, have a plan, okay, to set up a nuclear powered power supply, for example. Just an imagination. But when you calculate the cost, it's enormous. So better not to use the nuclear powered equipment or system in your company. So better to outsource. It's not very risky. It's very high. That is in terms of the trouble, physical difficulty. So in some situation is very trouble or very high cost, better to outsource. Okay, okay. Don't make some don't enforce something is difficult. So it must be as far as is practicable. Okay, and then okay, the duty of the employee to prepare written statement in the form of the policy and distribute to all the employee. So if there are penalties if there any infringement, okay, of the employer that's here, they may be fined not exceeding RM 50,000. Not exceeding, not exceeding means that he could be fined RM 1 or RM 2 or RM 3 up to 40,000 9,900 99 ringgit, okay, up to that, but not more. Or he can be imprisonment for not more than 2 years, means that 1 year 364 days, okay, if found guilty for severe, okay, infringement or breaking the regulation, for example. So you have, in term of regulation or law, you have to read in between the lines, okay, not more, not exceeding. Even if the judge make that mistake, so that uh, the verdict may not be valid, especially when it's already record or written, okay, on documents formally. So need. So this is an example of the UTM policy. I've done general duty some before. It's not it's in line with the general policy in the OSHE. If you read carefully, it's, you can type the UTM, Occupational Safety and Health Policy. You can immediately get from the Google. This is for employee. Before is for employer. Employee, okay, including people who are doing work at the workplace. So this is other duty. Okay, they are duty to take care, okay, not only yourself but other people, and then give cooperation. Okay, wear PPE. So this is when you are forced to wear PPE. It is the law. Some people say if they can, okay, feel that they are invincible, okay, they are immune to any damage, like in the video games. But whatever you think, you may think of yourself, you have to follow the regulation and comply. So what is the penalty? 1,000, not exceeding 1,000, or imprisonment in term of 3 months. But usually, this, if any, in compliance in the level of organization, okay, so they will settle between the management and the worker. So means that their safety officer identify this person is very dangerous. Okay, okay. So they have to make effort lah. For example, cut the salary. But if accident happen, so that's why they have to report. SHO accident happen, the SHO, the safety health officer in your organization, have to report to the Department of Safety and DOSH, okay, Department of Safety and Health Malaysia. So they, in every state there are office. You have to report, and if DOSH will evaluate if, okay, it is due to the negligence of the employer, okay, that's why they are eligible. But if it's because of the employee, okay, everything was in place, but employee was stubborn, they will get this penalty, could face this penalty on top of being sacked by the employer. Um, all right. So and then in this requirement, I think this okay. This is section 17, if I'm not mistaken. This is somewhere in section somewhere, but there you see here, if there are 40 or more person employed in the workplace, you must have that committee. So UTM are more than 40. You have to have that committee. And so they must have of the committee. But at certain, okay, this is just safe and health committee to employ. But at certain like construction, on construction, for example, on top of this number of employee, so they must have a SHO, safety health officer, or industry. Okay, more at certain levels, they must have a safety health officer which okay certified uh, by OSHE, and also they are um, accountable to OSHE to have the make report. So the being an SHO is also a good prospect for you if you want, if you really like this topic or this area. Yeah, and this is the fine, yeah, not more than 50,000 or imprisonment for 6 months. Yeah, who are see being a SHO also liable to this because you are a part of the safety and health committee. Yes, yeah, this is the safety officer under company health. Okay, the budget of construction is more than 20 million. Compulsory. Shipbuilding, gas, petrochemical like Titan, Lotto, metal like refinery or whatever, wood, timber, cement industry, modern must have a SHO, safety health officer, safety officer. In UTM, it's not compulsory, but I think there are one SHO at the DOSH. Okay, Department of DOSH or share Department of UTM. So we are not as intense as the manufacturing, but we are adopting the level as far as it's practicable. We will look into. So there are 8 others regulation in the OSHE Act. So this is Act. Under that there are regulations. Like for example, this is class. Okay, and this one is NADOPOTS. Okay, class about how to handle chemicals in terms of classification, labeling. Okay, NADOPOTS means that when there's an accident, okay, what are the procedures? And then a few others like chemical use. We will look into if we see, we will look into that. Like this one, NADOPOTS, the notification of accident, dangerous occurrence. Okay, NADOPOTS. So that's the acronym. So the employer shall notify the nearest occupational safety and health office. Okay, so basically UTM, if there is an accident, have through the SHO or through the OSHE department, have to report to DOSH. What is DOSH? Department of Safety and Health. So every state have their office, but they are centralized uh, to the main government office in Putrajaya, if I'm not mistaken. So they must report. Okay, if they fail to report, they are okay. So these are DOSH. Okay. Uh, so these are DOSH. So basically, they are under the ministry. Okay, I mean under the ministry of Human Resources. So these are their roles: to study, review the policy, the legislation, enforce. So by how to enforce, okay, they have the officer will do if they receive a complaint or report, okay, they will do the investigation. So they will wear the green jacket, green jacket, and then will go and see. So they are basically we look into the issue of technical analysis and OSHE issue, like for example, if the accident, death, for instance, they will do investigation and then to promote the program, okay, in the national level, to advise, to provide uh, the advice to the government. Okay, so they are enforcing in terms of the FMA, they are enforcing in terms of the OSH, and also enforcing part of enforcing part of Petroleum Act. And they are basically the secretariat of the National Council regarding OSH. Okay, before we have the National Council of Safety. So the DOSH is the secretariat. So they give advice, okay, to yeah. Okay, there is another National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. So this now Department of DOSH, they do not provide trainings. A training, consultation, service, information on how to implement, okay, is divided by this NIOSH. Remember the SHO, Safety, Health and Officer. So how to become certified? How to become a certified SHO? You have to go training under the NIOSH. Okay, NIOSH. Okay, also is a I think it's a government link company. It is basically a company that run this training consultation service, and now is also appointed party can also appoint third party organization to give training. Okay, like in UTM there are companies that can provide trainings, but exams, okay, so you have to go to training. You can go training, can go to NIOSH or any certified company. And then next step, if you want to do the certified process, and then you have to sit for exam. And exam you have to go to NIOSH. And exam there are few papers. It's the objective papers. There are work uh workplace assessment. Okay. And also there are like some subjective tests or exams if, before you are certified. But one of the requirement uh, be a certified SHO, you must work under a company. Salary of a SHO, it can be very expensive depending on your competency. Okay, because SHO it will make sure that the company adhere or follow the regulation and have no problem with the regulation. So in UTM, there are OSHE department. They give training, information, and do the yearly internal OSHE audit. Right. So this is very important. You need to know about this. The activity in occupational safety and health. This is the uh, okay. The activities in the occupational safety and health. The first one is to identify. Okay, identify. Uh, Identify what? Identify the hazards. So identifying the hazards are identifying the hazard is a responsibility of everyone, not only the safety officer, also the workers, the employee. Of course, is on the on okay. The task is mainly responsible by the SHO, but everyone must play a role. Okay, if you see a hazard, okay, feel that you feel hazard, you advise. Okay, so then the SHO will do the assessment based on the hierarchy. Hierarchy or is hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control. So basically, this is high hazard identification happen here. RA is here, risk assessment. And hierarchy, okay, we quantitatively determine the risk level based on the severity and likeliness, severity and likeliness or frequency of sometimes it's called frequency or likeliness. Then and then we have determined the risk level because it is important. The risk level will determine the level of control measure. Level of control measure, which what you so this is risk control, where we will look into the hierarchy of control. Okay. So remember, there are three main activities in OSHE: identify, assessment, and control measure. So this is what all about in this course. Either we are talking about how to identify hazard or how to assess and how to control measure. And at the end of the class, we will show you how to do it practically. But first, you have to know what is hazard. What are the kind? This is the kind of type of hazards. Okay. Remember that what is hazard? The source of okay, the source of act or situation, okay, that may cause harm to human or may or what to human or to worker, to the environment or to our asset, our building. And these are the classification of the hazard: mechanical, electrical, noise, vibration, pressure. We're going to look into that. Most of this. Okay, there are also biological hazard, like bacteria or virus. So you can say that COVID-19 is the biological hazard, and also the vector-borne disease like dengue from mosquito, and so on. Okay, vegetable dust. I think it is something like in the Interstellar movie. Stellar movie where the okay because I don't know whether insect eat the plantation and then they cause dust. And insects also the biological, okay, in some case some country they have that problems in pest problem like rapid growth or population growth of mice or grasshopper. They call as locusts, for instance. They are biological. Chemical one. I think one of the most intense type of hazards. There are so many types of chemicals hazards, depending because there are many kind of chemicals from solid, semi-solid, fume, gas, vapor, and so on. There's also psychological hazard, like drug abuse, misuse of drugs, abuse, okay, and harassment in terms of physical harassment, sexual harassment, um, like bullying. Okay, your co-workers, okay, use derogatory terms or you know the condescending behavior, abrasive behavior. Okay, think that you are basically uh, better than everyone else for no reasons. But okay, and then ergonomic is also one hazard, an awkward posture, like how you sit. Okay, in front of the computer, the level of your sight with your monitor. Also, okay, a topic in the hazard, forceful exertion, like uh, you lift something, okay, and contact stress, repetition like doing something over and over and over, okay, for many time, 8 hours a day. Okay, how to overcome that, okay, ergonomic hazard. Okay, these are the hierarchy in control measure. If possible, you memorize this is very important. Okay, so these are the inverse pyramid. The inverse pyramid shows you basically the volume of the in the section shows you the effectiveness. Uh, effectiveness. Hang on, I have to take a call. Okay, coming back. So these are the hierarchy in control measure. So again, I explained, so the pyramid size determine the effectiveness level. So the measure at the bottom here has the least effectiveness in dealing with risk. So maybe you have a mindset, or if you come good, that's good. Like if you go to the lab or the laboratory or working area, you want or you must wear PPE. But that is actually the least effectiveness level to deal with the uh, the risk coming from a hazard or any hazard. So the least, so the very minimum. Okay, like for example, COVID-19, we wear masks. That's the least thing that could be employed. So the highest one is elimination. What does it mean? The elimination physically remove the hazard. Like, is it possible? That's why we look into the severity level and then also the elimination process that we can provide. And can when we match with the practicality and practicality in terms of the cost especially. So how can we remove the COVID so we don't have the cure? Still have no cure. No cure. We cannot remove. Okay, one way we everyone move to Mars, for example, but is that not going to remove? Or not everyone going to be COVID free. Like, so elimination. Yeah, like elimination. Okay, we put into your organization or work procedure, for example. Okay, we have a procedure, manufacturing an item or a product. So there is a process require a very risky procedure. How do you eliminate that procedure? Okay, by you have to eliminate by outsource. Okay, so or we cannot do this at our place, very risky. So we find vendor or other companies that can do it. So that is process of elimination. Of course, it's going to incur costs because you outsource means that more costs. Okay, and then lower then substitute. Substitute, replace to reduce hazard risk. For example, okay, coming back to the work process. Okay, if this process is very risky, so try to find a safer way, alternative way. Okay, find a way how to make it safer. Maybe you maybe you break down the process into few steps. Okay, instead, okay, you say it's possible to reduce the risk by doing it instead of one day, doing it for 3 days, for example. Okay, just put an example. And then engineering controls. Engineering controls mean isolate people from the hazard. So how do you engineering controls? Oh, this is very risky. If let people do it, very risky. We use robotic arm, for example, robotic applications. So where we can manipulate or do the things remotely. Okay, and then administrative control in some cases. Okay, basically like for instance, a worker have a issue, okay, standing, okay, ergonomic, standing on the production line for a very long time, okay, 8 hours, a long time. So then they get cramp or sore feet problems. So what to do? We administrative, okay, make a schedule. Okay, this 4 hours we change role. Okay, you do the job that can you where you can sit. But some job this worker cannot sit for some reasons. So, for example, if they sit, their attention may go down. They will mistakenly put the item wrongly or production. So when you become the administration, can you will understand. And lastly, PPE. Okay, wear personal protective equipment. That's the least actually. Okay, in hierarchy of control. So that's the least thing that could be used or in area control. Okay. So this occupational safety and health prevailing. This is the prevailing laws. Just want to quickly explain. So basically, if there are any redundancy redundancy that came out from issue of occupational safety and health. So there are other regulation. So and then there are people are basically or worker want to make claims. Okay, they want to say that OSH is not relevant, but and there's other regulation that is relevant. So there is a statement in section 2 saying that anything that is inconsistent or like feel that it is in redundancy with the OSH, so that regulation is basically uh, is lower or okay, and OSH is much more relevant, okay, in terms of the law. Oops. So this is what I talk about. The occupational safety and health is not only limited to OSH and FMA. So there are other regulation related to safety and health, but not specific to workplace. Like for example, electrical supply under the energy energy council. So they decide what is the safety in terms of the electrical supply, the level, and then petroleum. Okay, petroleum. Okay, especially petroleum that is using the pipeline. Okay, if in the chemical engineering department there are tank that supply pipes. Okay, this also under the energy of energy council. So the regulation is under there. Poison safety on the poison is under this act, poison act. Okay, like pesticide and so on. Fire service. Okay, this is a lot before any house to be certified or get the living certified to be okay allowed to be live lah. Okay, it's until they receive this fire service act certification upon service act, so they cannot uh, be accommodate, for example. And then uniform building bylaw, UBBL. I think this is something more civil students are more well versed on this in this. Right. Okay, so this is the part. Now, like what I want to do, I want to check okay your attainment so far. So let's do an activity. Uh, do an activity. Need everyone to participate. I want to see so far how do well. Production to play. Start. Hang on, but please use your proper name, especially later later in the actual assessment, when you finish, if you use a pseudonym or nickname, difficult me to for me to find who are you. Hang on. Okay, cool. Can you see? Yeah, so could you kindly join? Eh. Oh. Yeah. Okay, I think we can start. Choose the act and regulation related to occupational safety and health. Okay, so the answer either OSHE 1984 or FMA. DOSH 1984 is doesn't exist. DOSH stand for Department of Safety and Health. So this not even exists. MS 1420 is nation standard. 1480, I don't know whether that exists or not. Okay, oh yeah, the SIRIM certification from food company. Okay, that's food quality. So that is not related. Okay. Okay, so then this one, okay, you might confuse with OSHA. Okay. Next. Adil. So the leaderboard is Muhammad Adil. Okay, now ready? Do the next. No. Okay, most of you get it right. Remember, OSHA cover all type of manufacturing industry except for two: military and seafarers. So means that manufacturing, agriculture, sanitary service, mining, agriculture, forestry, all that's covered in OSHA 1994. But military, yes, that's our armed forces. Okay, the military and like police. So far, it's okay. All right, still Muhammad Adil leading. Be very close. Next. What are the three main activities? Boing. Okay, most of you got it right. Okay, that's why it's very important to pay attention. So all the activity here is to identify. Look, what is the hazard? We're going to do that a lot. What is hazard? What type of hazard? And then after we know and uh, basically can compare or distinguish between hazard, then we go for assessment where we quantitatively find the level of risk. Risk what there's a certain number and they agreed, we classify the risk into the severity, then we choose the proper control measure. We look into that in the as we go along this course. Yes, on the next we go. Penalty who contravene with OSHA. Read carefully. Yeah, so only one get it right. Now, why most of you choose okay, let me re-explain again. Okay, this is very important. I have to stop sharing this first and then reshare. Okay, see, in law, you have to read between the lines. Okay, in law. Okay. Where is it? Yes, here. Read carefully, eh? Penalty for person who contravene this is a fine not exceeding RM 50,000. So the fine cannot be 50,000. Say here not exceeding. And then the imprisonment is not more than 2 years or both. Okay? 50K, not more than 50K. Be, be very careful. In terms of law, you have to read between the lines. It is between you, you know, behind the bars or continue as a free citizen. Okay, careful. This is a good example in regulation and law. You have to really careful. Okay, it may determine something else. People will if you don't aware about the law. Okay, this is good. It's good. Some of you get the concept, and some of you a bit slightly, not say this is learning process. Don't worry, okay. Only 8 that really, but most of you is confused. Okay, here is fine for this point not exceeding. Okay, next. Okay, now Prima Aditya has climbed to the top. Next, see the wrong purpose. Boing. So yes, this is the focus of FMA. FMA more focus on machinery, okay, and registration of the machinery. The rest is, yeah, the right purpose. This is the wrong purpose. This is the purpose for FMA. Yeah, okay. Next. What is hazard? Okay, I think sorry. Okay, 30, 36, 18. I think this is in the supposed to the way, not the cause. Okay, the way. The cause is the implication. It must be the way. Okay. The way in which an object or situation can prevent. Oh no. This is the more like the control measure statement, but this is the correct definition or more close definition. Okay. So we have few more to go. Commitment. Of course. Okay, it must be the CGPA. I think you are just playing. Training, yes, this is the responsibility of OSHE. It is also actually indirectly. So OSHE give instruction to the lab not to allow student to enter lab. Okay. It's okay lah. But if you look into this is like boldly stated like CGPA. Why you share bother with student at CGPA? Okay. MBS has climbed. Of course, fill in an accident report form. DOSH, no. DOSH, to report to DOSH, is the responsible of the OSHE. OSHE or the safety health officer. Okay, so this is the student itself. Okay, get a minor because he still can perform basic function. Okay, like walking, whatever, just minor. So that person or that student, he himself must do, fill in the report. Not DOSH. Even it's minor, no need to go for DOSH. So if minor, just delete in the level of school. Okay, next. Yeah, good. You got it. The idea. Protection. This is the hazard definition. Okay. Next, Michael still leading. And then the last question. Enforcing OSHE. DOE, NIOSH, NCOSH, DOSH. Yes, DOSH. Not NCOSH. NCOSH is the council. Council on top of DOSH. Okay, that look into the regulation itself. Not NIOSH. NIOSH is the training. Training, I mean, the training for certification is different than training for awareness. Training for awareness is the responsibility of OSHE UTM, but training for certification is NIOSH. DOE is Department of Education. Right, we will see. The podium. Number 3, Adil. Number 2, MBS. And number 1, Haikal. Congratulations to Haikal. And to Jiangji and Firdaus for the runner-ups. Okay, thank you. And then I think we settled the Kahoot session for this part. I think we will play again. Don't worry. We're going to play more with Kahoot. You will get your revenge on okay. Just we need to go cover one or two until, if we possible, until physical hazard. We'll see before we go for physical handed. So let's see. Sharing. Safety audit. This is safety audit. Okay, I think this is will be a bit short. Not that long. Oops. Not screen. Sorry. PowerPoint. Right. I want to touch a bit into what is safety audit. Just for your information, this safety audit maybe not that, but if, like, for example, if you have a club, for example, okay, or a team, like you may have, like in UTM, like there are many team, like Robocon team, so they are working under their own lab. Okay, so audit, one of the things they have to do, the self audit. But for your level, mostly students, you are not involved with the organization, so you don't, uh, you know, obliged to do the safety audit. But in general, okay, it's good to know the verifying the existing element and safety health, and verifying sustainability to achieve defines basically, okay, based on the documentation and the guideline. you want to verify, to do the verification. Okay, and also to achieve the objective. So that's what the purpose of safety audit. And to basically to show you how the occupational safety health audit is done. And this is like give you some exercise to identify the hazard. This going you're going to do it uh, later. Then even hang on, I need to. Okay, sorry. Uh, okay, coming back to here, it's basically to expose you to on how the audit is done, the occupational safety and health audit is done. So help you to basically to understand the process of identifying the hazard. Okay, but I know that you haven't seen what are the type of hazard yet, but this is the we look into the process first. Okay, like for example, this. Okay, you see on your environment. So when you see a hazard, you have to describe, put the description. So this description, at least, okay, you have to write the noun, the adjective of the, and then the noun, for example. So here, but you can use a long descriptive, that's okay. Like in this example, in this picture, there's a wire on the floor without any safety precaution. Wire in the floor, coming out from underneath the store, or going into the without a proper safety precaution. Okay, so in this step, we just identify first. Okay. Uh, so remember the unsafe act, the unsafe condition. Okay. So this is the condition. You when you want to see what unsafe condition, you look at the environment. Wire going into the tunnel conduit on this, and then number two, the fire extinguisher are not at the right place or misplaced. At least you write misplaced fire extinguisher. So much more concise. So that is the adjective, and this is the noun. Okay, the noun is the fire extinguisher, and then the adjective is the misplaced. But if you can put a long a sentence, that's okay. So that's the hazard, misplaced fire extinguisher. What it will cause? Will cause. Hang on. Okay, and then improper place of tools. So or you can put untidy tools. Okay, right. So like it's this, for example, we have a power conduit. So this is you can say a foreign object inside the uh, power control room, for example, or switch room or distribution box room. So there's the end supposed to be anything inside. So that is the identification of hazard. And what it may cause, like if there are spark, okay, electrical spark, it cause fire. Or other than that, that is fire hazard. It could cause other type of hazard like physical hazard, like when people want to access. So this that's with objects, okay, may fall down and fall down to their toes, for example. Okay, so it can also falling object. Okay, we call physical injuries, for example. And then when you identify the hazard, what you do, you do the control measure. Okay, so what control measure is used here? It is administration control, where you order a communal work. So gotong royong, clean up the area, and then this is after the process. Okay, I forgot to mention. So the risk maybe not that the severity multiply the likeliness may be low. Okay, you can put 2 to only 4, but still have to be addressed. Okay, and then after the hazard identification, you risk, and then the control measure is admin control is enough. So do the communal work, gotong royong, clean up the area, and you get after. Okay, this is, for example, missing signage to wear personal protective equipment. Okay, administrative control, and then put the signage. This one, and entangle wire. Okay, wire, electrical wire that may cause few things lah. For example, shock, electrical short circuit, and then spark, and also may cause tripping. Okay, user may trip on this wire. So the next is control measure. Is administrative control. Okay, you put the tape or proper you use a half moon or a conduit enclosure. So they are just a type of audits, schedule audit, like yearly, and then statutory audit, machinery, like I mentioned, machines like lift, compressor must be done every 15 months. I mean, the validity of the uh, certification is 15 months. So it must be okay. Renew after 12 months renew. Okay, so we have still 3 months. Means 3 months to finalize the renew registration renewal, and then continuous audit. Like in the construction, okay, almost you have to do the audit every day. And audit with the operation for certain process. So this we can delegate. We can delegate with the supervisor to do. We give them then checklist to the audit. Okay, we look at this situation. Okay, when there are many things that we can look into here. Okay, first we can say look at to identify the hazard. We can use unsafe condition. What you can see, uh, untidy or mess item on the floor. So there are mess item on the floor. There are too many items on the floor that could cause falling or tripping. Okay, and then what else? How about PPE signage? Okay, for every tools they must have PPE signage. How about fire extinguisher? Where is the fire extinguisher? I think there is one here. Okay, but you see here there are gas or gas cylinder. Fire extinguisher must follow the proper type. What else? I don't know about this machine. Okay, this machine maybe should put a guarding. Okay, a guarding. And also this machine, this is cutting machine. So there must be a guarding or guarding. If possible, put a cage. Okay, not letting all the people come, or at least put a tape. But first, we have to clean up the area. Okay, clean up the area, do the uh, uh, clean it up lah, and then put in the proper shelf or proper storage. What else we could see? This person is not wearing what? Helmet. So that is unsafe act. So far that I can identify, he is not wearing helmet. So that is wearing unsafe act. Mean it's an active verb. Okay, look at the process. On this, okay, this person of course is wearing a mask. No, the welding shield. Yeah, I'm not sure whether everyone is looking at the welding. Maybe there are other few things that you can identify when you see, like this one. What is the unsafe condition? The box is at height. The box is not secured. Yes. Okay, the box is not properly secured with or too high. Okay, this not because this box is moving from one spot to other spot. It shouldn't be high, except it is hoist from bottom to top at the to the shelf. But when it is transferred, it shouldn't be at height. Okay. It's not practical lah, of course. Okay, to put every time you want to transfer, you put the uh, if rope or something, anything. But it is only enough, okay, to stack it and then do not hoist it when you want to move. Only hoist it when you want to move from one level to another level, not moving from one spot to another spot. And then, what is this unsafe act? Also the driver is lifting the box without a proper way. And and also another thing, perhaps unsafe act is that this person or this other worker was walking in along the forklift area, or he already seen that this is object or item stacked high, he still walking under the stack of boxes. So that is okay. Other unsafe act audit using machine and equipment without authorization, not following safety rules, not wearing PPE. In terms of using machine and equipment without authorization, that is very important. We have an awareness. If we don't know how to do it, we seek for training. Okay, don't make yourself self learn something, especially in machine. Don't mean that learn it yourself. Okay, you need to find competent person who has experience and also have high awareness on safety, especially the lab assistant or assistant engineer. And okay, I said not following the rules, not wearing PPE, using the damaged equipment, even though you are already know the equipment is damaged, you still want to use it. And then repairing machine while in motion is very dangerous. Okay, try to repair something when it is in danger situation. Like for example, if your plug one day it is short circuited, your electrical plug, and then you try to pull it and then the cover is exposed, or when you pull it, one of the socket, one of the pin is still in the live socket, live pin, but people sometimes very panic, they touch that part, so get electrocuted. That's why if you have awareness, if you try pull your plug and then there is something left on the plug or on the wall socket, turn it off. Don't panic. Turn off the power. Turn off the power. And the best way is just leave it, or try to solve it by calling proper electrician. Okay, then there are the unsafe act that you can read here. And this is other unsafe act and this condition that can be listed here. This is just for your okay. I think another thing you keep. Okay, so next Okay, before we go for Friday prayer break, I think we can cover this topic: accident cause and prevention. This is regarding some theories on how accident happened. But hang on, let me post. Right, so accident cause and prevention. Uh, Definition: what is accident? Basically, something that is undesirable. You never expect, and you are under out of your control, and it is unexpected. And the thing is that it may cause injury to yourself and others, or others. Um, Meaning that if you are the one that causing the accident, you may not be injured, but other people will be injured, and also the properties, including the environment. So injury is basically the condition, the harmful condition that person sustain, or the uh, people by the body as a result of an accident. Major injury is uh, much more severe. Fatal means that casualty. It means that somebody and then casualty, it doesn't mean immediately. Sorry, fatal injury means that not uh, leading to instant casualty or death, but it cause a prolonged, sustained injury to a person that will impair him permanently and then struggle and eventually die. Like, for example, injury due to silicosis exposed to mineral dust in industry, or there are condition where they are working in very harsh condition, dust. So when the worker inhale, okay, that dust will cause silicosis in his lung, okay, and could die eventually. I mean, uh, fall sick and then die. Why do this happen? Okay, there are many theories that explain accident, and one of it is called as the domino theory. We look into this. It was established by Herbert W. Heinrich. He said that 80% of the accident are caused by unsafe acts. It has related with the behavior, and then committed by workers, not other people. Mean that not people who are coming into the workplace. Okay, most of that is coming by the worker itself, the accidents. So in this theory, okay, other people from outside, okay, they mostly don't dare to disturb or do anything when they come into the workplace. Other people workplace. And 10% of the accident are caused by unsafe condition. Unsafe condition, okay, it is related with the environment. Like for example, slippery floor. Okay, Other than that, like for example, staking material on the shelf, heavy. And other that, others like untidy workplace. Okay, pipes all over the floor, heavy pipes all over, like we seen in the pictures. And 2% of industrial accident are unavoidable. Only 2%. The accident you cannot avoid. So that's just a fraction. So most of it can be avoided. Only 2% is unavoidable. And the Henrik axiom of industrial safety, injury are the result of a whole series of factors. So one of which is the accident itself. So many factors that lead to injuries. Accident is one of it. So the injury could be the factor of negligence and others. An accident can occur only after a dangerous act committed by a person or physical or mechanical danger. So means that if there is no one working, shouldn't be any accident. Or if there is no hazard or physical danger, there shouldn't be an accident. Most accidents are result of unsafe behavior, like what this theory say, unsafe act 88% here. Uh, Most of it, 88%, is have something to do about your behavior and attitude. An unsafe act by a person or unsafe condition does not always immediately result in accident or injury. Yes. So, even you do something without wearing a safety boot or helmet or proper gear, does not necessarily means there will be injury or accident. Okay, it's just waiting to happen, and if it happen, the severity is catastrophic. The reason, and then number 5, the reason why people commit unsafe act can serve as a helpful guideline in selecting corrective action. So you need to identify why people uh do the unsafe acts. It could be like peer pressure, like workers say, why you are wearing the helmet, you are not looking handsome, for example. Okay, peer pressure, for example. And then uh, culture also could be one of the factor. Some people, okay, they have been working without since their father, not wearing PPE, still don't have accident, and then succeeded by their uh sons and daughters, so they do the same thing but no accident. So you may be shocked. Okay, in some country we have the low safety standard, so they handle uh very hot steel without using a proper attire. So because it's that's their culture. This, and then next we look at this, severity of accident is largely unpredictable. But however, the accident is largely preventable. Severity, you sometimes the accident is small. Person is just slip, fall down because of slippery. I would say small lah, small accident. But okay, the worker hit his head on the side of the desk, for example, or the wall, and immediately sustain brain injury and eventually die. So the severity is unpredictable. However, accident is largely preventable. Like only 2% is unavoidable. Means that if you have a proper setting, proper safety training and so on, it is preventable. Best tax, we look at number 7. The uh, best accident prevention technique are analogous with the best quality production technique. Means that it is in line, proportional. So if you have a good productivity, quality, that means you have a best accident prevention technique. Management should assume responsibility because it's the best portion to get best management, of course. And then this is in line with the OSHA Act 1994 management. They have their responsibility under the section 15. Supervisor must be a key person at every workplace production line. There must be supervisor. Okay, taking down of everything. In addition to the direct cost of an accident, like compensation, liability, claim, medical costs, hospital, there are also hidden or indirect costs. Okay, hidden or indirect costs, it could be like loss production time. So when there is an accident, production has been stopped, and then they have to do investigation. Okay, and they do the investigation, find the cost. So production stop. No production means that loss of profit. Okay, others like OSHA penalties, that are the indirect costs or hidden costs. When there are accident, they will be reported to OSHA. To DOSH. DOSH will look into the OSHA. The OSHA will, okay, and then they will, of course, they will investigate. And when they come with the finding, they will charge the person who are responsible, whether the user, the worker or the employee. And there are others like indirect costs like the moral of the staff. Yeah, see, if like say your friend, okay, in the lab had an accident, okay, while doing your lab exercise, how do you feel? You could feel guilty and so on, feel sorry and so on, and it will affect at some degrees. Okay, according to Heinrich, there are 5 factors in the sequence of event. Means that are the factors in successive manner. The first one is ancestry and environment or work culture, or we can say may come basically from other worker, okay, or may come from your family. Okay, this is culture. Okay, some people are very ignorant. So negative character traits may lead people to behave in an unsafe manner and can be inherited or acquired as a result of the social environment. Inherited, like I say, from your seniors. You inherit that culture. Your seniors say, don't bother lah. Don't bother wear that helmet. Don't bother use that procedure. It's very troublesome. This is a shortcut. Or sometimes acquired. Acquired means that like for example, you were somehow break up, have a relation breakup. Okay, you break up with your girlfriend, for example, or boyfriend. So when you come to the workplace, you feel that very demotivated. Okay, so you lose your attention. So that is acquired. Some people are, you know, it, some people when they break up, they will, be very down for a long time. Okay, and then fault of for person, that is the second factor. Okay, the negative character trait, whether inherited or acquired, are reason why people behave in this unsafe manner and why hazardous condition exists. And then third, unsafe act or unsafe condition, whether mechanical or physical and biological. So this is a direct causes of any accident. And then number four, the factor are accident. Typically, accident that result in injury are caused uh, by the unsafe act or unsafe condition. And then number five is injury. So injury like include laceration, fractures, burn skin, broken bones, even sustained injury in your internal organ. So those are injury. So Heinrich, the domino can be like arranged like a domino. Like for example, social environment, ancestry, fault of person, and so on according to the order. So how to stop the accident? Okay, to have accident is by remove of the central factor, which is removing this. By removing the, although they have very bad culture or person is very sloppy, make a lot of mistake. By by removing this, we can prevent accident and injury. Okay, again, we look into what is I have mentioned some times or some several times in the past lecture or description. So here we again repeat what is unsafe condition. Basically, condition within the working environment which increases the worker chance of having an accident. So here the key point is working environment. Okay, look at the working environment. Example of unsafe condition, ineffective safety device. Okay, like busted harness. Okay, and uh, like uh, glove, like glove or old glove. Then safety device required but not provided. That's unsafe condition. Like uh, don't have that device. That is required for safety, but it's not provided. Poor housekeeping. There many times we've seen here that material on the floor stacking too high or stacking overload. This is not evenly distributed. Too many stacking at the top, for example, not properly distributed, not following the limit. Okay, poor storage, overcrowded, and put everything together, all the chemical together. Some chemical cannot be together with another chemical, and so on. Defective equipment, okay, like your tools, your drill, your saw, your uh things, machine that compress, thing machine that cut, machine that divide whatever, sort whatever. So if this poor, defective, don't use it. Improper dress, okay, or apparel, don't wear safety boot or helmet. Improper, this is also for important. Illumination, ventilation, illumination, like the lighting. If the lighting is poor, so we may make mistake. You cannot see clearly. or may cause a physical injury like your eyesight. Okay, and then ventilation, especially in the COVID period, ventilation is poor, so the disease may stay in the room or in the environment. So proper ventilation will basically purge or flush out, okay, the bacteria or bad thing outside the buildings. So this is example of unsafe condition, poor storage, and everything is put inside a, a room, okay, untidy. See, this is chemical corrosive, and this I think you see the metal on the wall has started to oxidize or corroded. So this is basically poor storage of chemicals. This is also unsafe condition. Holes in the stair, holes or rusty stairs, metal stair. So you could fall down or fall into, your feet could fall into, and you trip. How about this one? Unsafe condition. You can say unbalanced load, or you can say unbalanced heavy load. Put on uh, put on drums to support, but this could cause tripping. Not tripping. Heavy object fall down. And then could what we can see is maybe chemical spillage. Yeah, the white stuff there, chemical spillage. Don't know what's the material, but basically clearly we can see chemical spillage. And then you look at the base here, and so and you can say the unsolid base. Okay, so the base is put on the soil. When rain comes, the soil will be soft, and then this can trip over. So those are the unsafe conditions that we can think of from this picture. How about this? This quite many that we can see here. You can see wet floor. Okay, unsafe condition. Remember, wet floor. The adjective, and this is the noun. What else? Ex, extension, untidy, wire extension, yeah, especially on the wet floor. What else? Maybe no proper shelter. So wet floor due to the rain. Rain comes and then wet the area. What else? Untidy tools. Okay, on basically on the desk, working area. It could uh, uh people could trip over, okay, with the wire, and then the tools will, okay, fall down, will cause the damage to the tool itself. So those are the some unsafe condition can be think of here. How about this? See, This is basically the regulator of a welding, if I'm not mistaken. You see, that is like the what you can say, the hose. The hose is worn off or worn out hose. Okay, we can say the welding gas hose. So it may cause gas leakage. Okay, and then unsafe example of unsafe act. You look at the person and then you look at the work process, or look at the person, look at the what he's doing. Okay, look what that person do. His behavior is not like uh, stalking on the person, but if it is our responsibility in the working area, if you see someone work, if we do it properly, that's fine. But we need to see what is their action. Example of unsafe act: protective equipment or safety provided but not used, not wearing, for PPE. Hazardous method of handling material, for example, wrong lifting method. So if when you lift a heavy item, so it is very important to make sure that you don't bend over. You have to make sure your back is straight, and you just squat down and make sure your back is straight while lifting. And then make sure that the weight that you want to lift is not too heavy. Improper use of tool equipment, although proper tools were available. Like, for example, you use the soldering iron to make holes on your plastic container. So I don't know. I cannot stand it. I'm from electrical engineering. I see anyone using the electrical solder to make holes on plastic container or plastic enclosure. I don't know. I feel like very bad. That is very improper. It can, is damage, not only damage the solder, also uh, actually when you melt it, it will cause fume, and then you inhale the fume, can get into your system, and it can cause sickness. Okay, and then the other here, like horseplay. Okay, you like to joke around. If you like joking, don't do it in the lab. You poke someone, okay, and then you pull their pants, whatever, in the lab. Very dangerous. And don't do jokes, physical jokes, especially in the lab. As you see here, this is very astonishing. What we are looking here, very astonishing. So you see, a person, okay, lifting the machine on the